And we're back. Bronx Bail Fund reports after posting bail, many Bronxites are still detained at Rockers Island long after having their bail posted. Also, Melissa Mark Viverito announced run for New York City Public Advocate. What does this all mean? And joining us via phone call to discuss this, we welcome now the Associate Editorial Page Editor of the New York Post, Michael Benjamin, to join us. And Mike, good to have you.
Morning, Daren. How are you?
I'm doing well. As we start things off, let's talk about Melissa Mark Viverito, former speaker, now throwing her hat into the ring, saying that she will run for public advocate. This taking place, of course, after Tish James now goes to the New York State Attorney General's seat. But you also got a couple of candidates out there, Jumaane Williams, Mike Blake, right here in our area. What does Melissa Mark Viverito adding her name to the ring mean?
If you can hear me.
Mike, can we have you?
It just went out. Can you hear me?
I can hear you right now. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you right now. Okay, sorry about that. I don't know what's going on. Melissa Margarito, she brings her experience as a member of City Council, the former City Council Speaker, and as she said in her announcement, she's also a woman. She's a Latina, and right now, and in her words, the top three officials in New York City are all white men, and she wants to, I guess, break that current glass ceiling and bring women to the conversation, as well as bring a Latina to a position as a citywide elected official. As Speaker, she had a citywide role, but she was not elected citywide. So that'll be her opportunity. I believe she currently should be the only female Latino running for public advocate.
Ed, what do you say for her chances?
I think they've all got an equal chance. Jumaane Williams has a leg up only because he ran statewide this year, and he rolled up some pretty big numbers in the city, particularly in his home borough of Brooklyn. So I think he goes in as the prohibitive favorite. Viverito comes in as a Latina, a woman, so she has possibly that. But you've got Latrice Walker from Brooklyn, a member of the State Assembly, an attorney who announced her run for public advocate. As you said, Michael Blake, an assemblyman from the Bronx, who's getting better known. You have from Brooklyn another council member, Espinal. Possibly Republicans might run. Joe Borelli from Staten Island has talked about it. You have Eric Ulrich from Queens, a Republican. He's talked about possibly running. But if a Republican were to run and maybe try to take advantage of a split in the Democratic vote, they would only be, public advocate for a couple of months before the general election, and then they'd probably lose in the general election landslide to a Democratic candidate. So we'll see what people decide to do with their careers. Right now, it's sort of a free run to run for public advocate. They now have a couple of months to raise money and raise their profile, and to get on the ballot for what will probably be an end of February special election.
Yeah, given the fact that the mayor's under scrutiny right now, talking about that $20 million that's out there in excessive spending on travel trips that came out by way of an audit, a public advocate, of course, certainly would be the person that speaks to that. Bring us the latest on that.
Well, yeah, that too, but you also, that report was audited by the city controller, whose role is to do that sort of thing and to look at city spending and to point out where certain rules have been broken. And in this case, Controller Scott Stringer, his staff discovered that DOE staffers were, going on these making these travel arrangements, travel plans, and spending city money, Board of Education money, without going through the proper protocol. And that kind of spending, is unwarranted and makes you mistrust the mayor when he talks about wanting to expand, mayoral control of the Department of Education, when he can't even control excessive spending by the people who are responsible to him and to Chancellor Carranza.
Yeah, and I was saying the public advocate, of course, would be a voice in that, saying, really speaking up and advocating for the people, given the fact that you have this much money that's out there with regards to excessive travel. What are we looking at by way of criminal charges?
Well, I don't know if it's going to rise to the level of criminal charge. I don't think any particular criminality is involved, other than nothing criminal. I don't think anything is a misdemeanor unless that's discovered. But the control's report didn't point to any criminal activities. It's just a violation of established, financial protocols when it comes to how to spend travel money and in most cases are trying to avoid using conference centers and expensive hotels when you could possibly use schools that charge a small fee or schools that are open and offer free space.
Let's bring it a little closer to. I'm sorry. Let's bring
Go ahead.
bring it a little bit closer to home. Talk a little bit about Rikers Island. I started my lead with Rikers Island, finding people who are still paying bail or still having a long time in the system. Talk to us about that.
Well, what we're finding is, you have the Bronx Bail Fund, which is a bail fund to bail out people from Rikers up to $2,000 bail. They're finding, despite their ability to raise bail for these arrestees, they're finding that the process takes a long time. We noticed that when we saw the Robert F. Kennedy Fund. They have a current bail plan to bail out women and young people from city jails, and they're finding it's been slow going in getting those people released. But New York Post reporting has found that a couple of people who they've been successful in getting bail and releasing, 2 or 3 of them skipped their court date, and are now have warrants out because they skipped their court date. So that's problematic. But what I think the Bronx Bail Fund points out, that we really do need significant bail reform, reforming cash bail, and then also reforming the process of getting it done. A lot of times, unless you pay your bail at your judicial hearing, at your court hearing, once you go to Rikers, it's a long process to get the bail money, get to the process, put up the bail, and then to find the inmate, and then to bring the inmate, and release that inmate. And the bail fund, I think, is an important report. I think something that the legislature and the city council needs to look at to find out ways of improving the system and getting people released on a timely process. Whether a person is, everybody who's arrested is presumed innocent until they're found guilty at trial. So I think arrestees should be considered innocent until proven guilty, and then given reasonable bail to get out. Bail is not used, to be preemptive to prevent people from coming out, from being released back onto the streets, unless and it's not even because they pose a danger. A judge legally cannot say a person cannot be released because they pose a danger. Mm-hmm. There have to be other reasons for setting bail, and setting a higher bail as a way of maybe not letting us, let's say, an El Chapo, a major drug dealer from running around back in the boroughs.
Right. Before I let you go, I want to ask you a question. Well, get your thoughts, I should say, on the passing of New York State Senator Jose Peralta, dead at the age of 47. A surprising death that came and really shook Albany and New York State.
Yeah, Jose was both in the assembly and when I left, I stayed in touch with him. In fact, I spoke with him prior to the September Democratic primary that he wound up losing. He was a good man, young at 47. I feel badly for his wife and his 2 surviving children, and he was a family man. And to lose your father, your husband at such a young age is really tragic. What I'm hoping that the New York State legislature will do is, since he was a champion of the New York State DREAM Act and allowing dreamers, young people who were brought here by their parents, are undocumented, but live their entire lives in the United States, in New York City, New York State, and are good students and are attending colleges in New York, for them to be eligible for state and city college financial assistance. It would be the right thing to do. And if they should rename the bill the Jose Peralta DREAM Act, and so that when it's passed by the Assembly and the Senate, as we expect it to happen sometime next year, that his work will be memorialized through that act.
Pretty interesting. We'll see how that. We'll see, and we'll definitely follow that. The death of Jose Peralta, and whether or not that actually comes to fruition. Mike Benjamin, as always, thank you, my brother. Good to have you here, sharing a little bit about what is going on in the world of politics.
Always good, Daren. Thank you.
All right, now, taking a quick break. Be back with more show. Be right back in a few.